You are listening to the Lawyer Stories podcast with host Benny Gold. Lawyer Stories was founded in July 2017 on Instagram and is an expanding global network of lawyers and law students sharing their personal journeys to the noble profession of the practice of law. Join us on this podcast as we dig deeper into these stories and hear from lawyers and law students from around the world in all areas of the legal profession. Here at Lawyer Stories, we believe that every lawyer has a story. What's yours?
Welcome to the Lawyer Stories podcast with Benny Gold. Today we welcome Dennis Meador, aka DM, CEO and founder of the Legal Podcast Network, LPN, a platform providing turnkey podcasting for lawyers and helping attorneys build authority, attract ideal clients, and grow. DM, thanks so much for joining us. Great to have you.
Absolutely. It's nice day. Air conditioning works, so nothing to complain about. Why not talk?
Yeah, hey, tell everybody where you're at. Like that's a pretty interesting way to start.
Yeah, I live in Belize on an island called Ambergris Caye. Most people know this place because the main city is called San Pedro, and there's a song from the 80s from Madonna where she says, "Last night I dreamed of San Pedro."
Oh,
this is that place, La Isla
Really?
Bonita.
Really?
So that's where I live. Now there's, that's like, it's kind of like an urban legend. You read that she did say it about this place. You read that she didn't. You read that she did write it. She did. It's kind of, but there's no other San Pedro island that is a, beautiful island. So I think they claim it and we love it. We've been here about 3 years.
Is there like a restaurant or a bar that claims it and they like have a plaque up of Madonna and they're just like,
oh, it's the whole island.
The
You
whole
cannot
island.
go. Oh yeah.
That's
You
great.
can't go into any bar without hearing that song, La Isla Bonita. You can't any playlist that is played on this island. I think it's written in the bylaws of their constitution. They have to play that. They have to play Selena. There's there's 4 or 5 songs that are literally on every playlist here. It seems like
that's fantastic. It's a good tune. I mean, except I could see it getting overdone. But anyway,
3 times a day. Yeah, every day for 3 years. Maybe not.
that's awesome. So before launching the Legal Podcast Network, now everybody out there, listen to that again, the Legal Podcast Network, and go look it up. Super cool. DM, tell us your professional background that prepared you to build this platform dedicated to attorneys.
Sure. So I'm a lifelong entrepreneur. My first kind of undertaking, I was 14 years old,
Yep.
kind of a neighborhood sort of manage the other younger guys. And I
Love
set
it.
up the lawn mowing and all that stuff. I got the jobs. I collected the money. I had the relationships. And then my brother and his friends did the work. When I collected, I paid them their part. I kept my part. And, that's what I did.
Wow.
So fast forward a few years. Now I am 18 years old. I am at a unaccredited Bible Institute in the Ohio Valley, just on the West Virginia border. And I had a buddy who was who was working for a telemarketing firm. Everybody else was paying $5 an hour. This place was paying $9-10 an hour. And I was like, well, I could try it. So I went. I started working there, did very well. They actually moved me into script writing. And this is a large company, 5,000-6,000 people that were working there at the time.
Wow.
They moved me into the script writing department. That was nice. Here I am, 18, 19 years old, coming and going as I please, making, I think, $20-25 an hour. But there were some other guys who were making $30, $40, $50 an hour. And I was like, what do those guys do? Because if I'm making in my mind, I'm thinking I'm writing these scripts for these products that are making millions of dollars and they're getting paid more than me. So what is the thing? And they were selling ads in magazines for FO, the Fraternal Order of Police, things like that. So I went over into that department, did very well, made good money, went into management. Now I'm 19 years old, 20 years old. I'm managing guys who are my age now. I'm 48.
Okay.
So I ended up getting recruited by another company. I started selling advertising and hospital patient handbooks.
Okay.
Made really good money there. Got into 6 figures before I was 21.
Wow.
Coming from a home where my parents together maybe made 50 at
Wow.
their best years.
And what town was that in, by the way? Where did you grow up? Where was the home?
I grew up kind of all over, but
Right.
where I claim the most is a place called the Quad Cities, Davenport, Bettendorf, Iowa, Rock Island, and Moline, Illinois, right on the Mississippi River. It's
Okay.
about 3 hours south and west of Chicago.
Okay.
Um, so I so I ended up actually moving back to my home area, and I started selling advertising in on maps, magnets, posters. Again, did well. Buddy of mine and we started a company that took off. Now I'm in like 22, 23, maybe somewhere around there. That takes off, and like a year into it, we're doing like 5 million with a net 25
What? Whoa,
product that I
whoa, whoa,
had come
slow
up
down. Say
with.
that again. Say that again. You're doing what?
About 5 million with a net 25% profit margin.
A year into it.
Yeah, I mean it was crazy. So I kind of I really enjoyed that. I was able to then spend the next few years. I traveled around the United States, spoke in and out because I also had a parallel ministry career. I didn't never get paid for it. I always did the ministry as like my way of helping, and then I always made my own money. So then we go into that business takes off. I'm living back and forth. I also built a house in Romania. Lived
What?
there off and on for a few.
What?
I'm sorry,
Why?
dude. Because I was married.
Why?
I was married to somebody. I was married to somebody from there,
Okay.
and so
Fair.
I mean, I met her in college, and then we went back, and I built a house on her family property, and then I ended up doing a lot of ministry over there for a few years.
What was the exchange rate there? Was it cheaper to build a house there, or like?
Oh yeah, I think at that time, I think I ended up paying less than $15,000, and I built like a little 2-bedroom house.
Wow.
So I mean, I can tell you, I don't know what the proper name, because this is just what they called them back then, but whatever the proper name for gypsies are now, there was a family that they made these mud bricks, and they came and built my house. And,
Really? How long did they build
yeah.
it? And you're sitting there with a crown on, probably. You're like, here you
No,
go.
I mean, I was actually over in another part of the house running my company in the United States with calling cards and dial-up internet.
All right, so let me stop you because you're doing so much, man. You have so much, but I want to get behind it because obviously you're very successful with the Legal Podcast Network. But I want to get behind it a little bit, and I want to ask you a question to slow things down.
Sure.
What was the drive to make all this money? Because it seems very money driven. Because you're and that's great. I mean, that's great. You're like this we're making 19, 20 an hour. I see these guys are selling sale. They're at 40, 50 an hour. And then you're we scaled to 5 million. So what was behind all that?
Being poor.
Okay. Well, that's
Very poor. I went from very poor to
Right.
pretty poor. Because when I lived with my mom, we were
Yeah.
very poor,
right.
very poor. And then I moved in with my dad, and we were pretty poor. And I just said, when I grow up, I'm not going to live like this. My family's not going to live like this. I got
Right.
married when I was 19.
Right.
I had my first kid when I was 22.
Why?
Why'd
you get married? So yeah. Wow. Okay.
Well, I grew up. I grew up in the very right wing fundamental
Okay.
Baptist churches,
Did
so
you-
that was very
yeah.
common.
Did you feel an urgency, DM, to make a ton of money because of that? You were like, shit, I don't want that to happen to me. Excuse my language.
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen to me. I need to go. I need to have the highest. I have these skills. I can do that. I want to make. Was there some sort of thing pushing you to
Yeah,
do it?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, when my parents divorced and we lived on the edge of the richest neighborhood,
How old
and
were
we
you?
were on the edge. I was 8 years old.
Okay.
So from 8 to 13, I lived in a very we're talking about my mom dated heroin dealers, crack dealers, pimps, gang leaders.
Okay.
So it was a very tough situation.
Right.
And I just remember as a kid, I didn't get my hair cut. I usually had one thing of clothes. I was filthy. I didn't go to school most of the time because people were at our house partying till 5 in the morning, 6, 7 days a week. So I just remember at a young age because every morning for about 5 years, every morning I got up, I took all the beer cans that were on the floor in the kitchen sink.
Okay.
It
Yep.
was usually 200 to 400 beer cans
Wow.
every morning. So you can kind of extrapolate the math. We probably had anywhere from 30 to 75, 80 people in the house.
So basically,
So 200
you were like a college student doing that at your fraternity house. Anyway, go ahead.
I mean,
so that's what
yeah.
they do. Yeah. So So you took all the cans and you were.
Took them in. I used that to feed me and my sister on a daily basis. It usually give us about $10, $15. depending on, how big the party was. And so if it was closer to 20, we'd go to the grocery store and buy several meals. If it was just like around 10, whatever. So,
Yep.
so because of that, I just at a very young age, I had seen what life like, I had friends when my parents got divorced, that were very well to do, probably now would be, I'm sure at the time were well into millionaires, chiropractors that owned several clinics. And so I had been exposed to that,
Sure.
but I didn't have it. So to me, I saw that and I was like, how did those people get that? Like,
Yeah.
I want what those people
But
have.
how
I
is
don't
it
want
so-
what I have.
How do you do that, like, ethically? Like, you did everything, it sounds like, ethically. Like, you didn't do any... I mean, well, I don't know. But it sounds like you did everything the right way. Like, some people would go out and have this urgency and, like, they'd see the... you said you lived on the next door, on the town over from, a rich town. Like, what is it inside you that just, like, kind of said, I'm going to do this the right way?
Because I saw where people who do those sort of things end up.
Okay.
So, every day I saw like women being beat. I saw, people being arrested. Our house was raided maybe once or twice a month. Like I saw what that criminal mind frame cultivated. So I didn't see like, even though I listened to that music and stuff, there was no glorification to that lifestyle to me.
Right.
It had no appeal. So that's why I was just like, not interested. To the point,
Right.
I never took a drink of alcohol until I was 36 years old.
Until you were
I'm 40.
36?
Till I was 36 years old.
Okay.
That was the first time I drank in my life.
Okay.
Never did any sort of like recreational drug that's legal in, I think, however many states now until I
Right.
was 40 years old. So it's just like, that is how aggressive I was about not being in sort of like that lifestyle. Even in high school, like I had friends, I'd go to parties, keggers, everybody's drinking. I literally had a few times at parties where the whole party was like, drink, drink, drink,
Oh,
drink.
yeah.
And I was just like,
I
nope,
hate that. Yeah.
Nope, not
I
doing
mean,
it.
okay, well, that's great that you were able. I remember those days. I mean, I wouldn't chant or anything, and I definitely wasn't the guy not drinking. But that's really good. Did you always have it on your mind how you could do bigger and better? Was that like the top thing? Like how can I get a job where I can make more money, where I can improve what I'm currently doing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I started making my own money at 14, because I moved in with my dad and he was like, listen, you got food, you got, roof over your head, you've got, what you need. They put me in a private school, again, putting me around people with money and not having money. So like, and I remember this, my freshman year, I was like probably about 2 down on the bench in varsity. And I was about 6'2". I played ball all the time.
What,
the
like
whole team
playing basketball?
Basketball, yeah. So the whole team gets Jordan 6s.
Mm.
You think I got Jordan 6s?
No.
Not that time I didn't. But I guarantee you, not long after, I could afford Jordans, and because I was just like, I'm tired. I got very tired very quickly of feeling different just because I had less. And I don't think that more makes me better. I just think that when you have less, it puts you in a position where you're looking at others. It's just not a good mindset to be in. And I didn't want that for my life. And
how did you get into those schools though? Like you're in a private school. How did you scholarship?
So my stepmom she went in the morning and watched like the kids that had to get dropped off at like 6 o'clock because their parents had businesses and stuff.
Okay.
So she would go in and watch like half a dozen, 10 kids every morning. And that would pay for me and my brother and sisters to be able to go to the private school.
Okay. So they would let you in because of her, or she would be able to pay for it to get in, like for you?
Well, her pay was us going to school.
Oh,
that's
wow.
basically what it was. Like she went in and said, I do this job. And there was a few, like there was another family who, that they like cleaned the whole school, and their pay was their kids to go to the school. So
that's amazing. Yeah.
Whether you agree or don't agree with that, that's how we did it. And I thought it was a good thing because it afforded us the opportunity, but we didn't have to have some sort of scholarship to do it.
Right. So tell us some more of the jobs you had since you were 14, like doing all this.
Sure. So 14, I was doing that with the business, lawn mowing, all that stuff. Well, I was, basically making it happen. Then I got a job at Burger King for a bit. Like, I had a couple buddies that worked there, like most people had my time in fast food. Then, so going up, then again, now I told you the other jobs up until I went to Romania. Came back from Romania, moved to Tulsa. I opened up an office. My business partner, basically, although he talked me into doing it, then accused me of breaking our non-compete. So I got an attorney, blah, 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 lost out on tons of money, whatever. So for about
What kind of business was that?
It was an advertising company.
Oh, okay.
I came up with this concept called a just-in-case emergency guide. It was a 6x9 magnet, poison control, animal control, on-call nurse at the hospital, emergency power outage, little squares of advertising around it.
Okay.
I wrote the script, came up with all the processes, and then I just kind of oversaw it. Well, once it was set up, again, he just thought, oh, I don't need him because everything's set up, and he kind of, set me up like that.
Okay.
So I did some consulting, really just like sales process development. This was from '01. You had the things happen. '08, you had the things happen, and everywhere in between. So during those times, like I was able to like go into these like B2B companies that had survived off of inbound, and they were like, we lost 30% last year. We don't know what to do about it because we're completely set up to just passively get inbound leads or have, outside sales teams. So I'd go in, set up an inside sales team, set up a sales process, sell the product, train the people, set it all up over about 6 months to a year. Then I'd step back and live off the residuals for a year or two.
Wow.
While I also had churches and things like that.
And you were where at this time?
Quad Cities, Tulsa, a lot of Tulsa. Tulsa for a while. And then I stayed in Tulsa till I kind of stopped that stint. I had started at the end of Tulsa. This is like 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14. I ended up starting what I called a company. It was a media social company. Okay. And what we did was it was a hyper local media company. I had 15 volunteers. One was like a weatherman that did like micro weather news during tornado season. Okay. One lady that loved like lost dogs and found dogs. And so I just found people in the community that were hyper passionate about very specific things in the community. And I just gave them an outlet to do what they wanted to do. So instead of like, oh, you got your own little Facebook page with like 600 followers. Hey, we've got this group. We've got 25, 30,000 followers in town. And, we're posting like 30 times a day. Everyone stays plugged in. We're besting the news. The news hated me. The local, like traditional media outlets. Yeah, because every time they posted this big news, the whole feed would say, the outlet that I had was called Hey BA for Broken Arrow. They said, Hey BA talked about this yesterday. Hey BA's, but this is old news. This is old. So we were doing news in real time.
Wow.
So that took off, but then my kids were like getting into high school, and I was carrying 2 cell phones, an iPad, a laptop at all times. And when I sat down, I had to set up a station because I had 15 volunteers. I had news stations that I was, like reporters that I was talking back and forth with. So I'm like, kind of like spidering all this stuff out of my head. So my now ex-wife was like, listen, you can have the business or you can have a family, but both of them aren't going to work anymore. So we moved to Austin, took a corporate job. Did that for about 4 or 5 years. My older 2 got through high school. They graduated. Me and my now ex-wife, it had been about 21 years. I was like, all right, I did what I needed to do. It's time for me because I basically lived my whole life. I never had a childhood, a teen years or a young adulthood or, early 20s. So I was like, all right, like I'm going to do this. So I went out then I think it was about 2018. I joined up with an SEO firm that works with lawyers.
Okay.
And he had about 78 clients. He'd been in business 9 years at the time. And I went up to him. I was like, listen, I can blow this up. You've got a great reputation. You got a pretty good product. I'll come in. Let's do a 5-year contract. I'll get X percentage of this and that. At the end of it, you give me a third of the company if I do what I'm saying I'm going to do. So fast forward 5 years. He had 78 clients doing a little under $1 million when I joined on.
Yep.
5 years later, we have over 400 clients. We're doing over $5 million a year. And he decides to exercise his option and buy me out. So December 1st, 2023, I get the email. So I go to my notebook because I had this podcast idea just based off of talking to attorneys. And they were just like, do you guys do podcasts? And I'd be like, no. And I talked to him about doing something. He's like, no, but I'm like a business geek, so I like write down whole business ideas and plans.
What are you talking about? Dude, it's been your life. You're not a business geek. It's been your life.
So yeah, I mean, but I'd write down like
What?
restaurant ideas, and I'll never do a restaurant. You know what I
So
mean?
it's
Just like,
fun, dude. I
yeah,
make fantasy
exactly.
football lineups. You think I ever win? No.
Yeah,
I
there you
do.
go.
I
I
do
like that.
NBA DFS lineups for a nickel. You think I win? Not often. Look.
Yeah,
So I wonder if I know that SEO company. You don't have to tell me, but that's
yeah. I.
congrats.
So yeah, so
That's amazing. Wow.
So then we launched. So I went into beta like I took December off, but I knew what I wanted to do. I started putting people in line. I had my VA that I'd had for I've had her 5 years now. So probably I guess I had her about 3 years at the time. So I was like, I could pay her for a month or two, not a big deal. I'll figure out. Then I had a couple people that came over to me that had worked with me, and they were like, I heard you're on your own again. I want to work with you. And I was like, okay, well, I'm kind of starting from nothing, and I have no investors. I'm bootstrapping. So I got very fortunate, like some very high quality people very quickly in my company bought in for like, might as well be minimum wage.
Yeah.
And I just said, this is what I could pay you now. This is if we could do this. And they've worked and they'd seen me work in the past. So I think they felt pretty confident that we could hit the benchmarks I set. I was like, if we get here, I could pay you this. If we get here, I could pay you this. So we started officially May 1st, 2024. So we're not quite 2 years, 19, 20 months. We started then. We now have about 200 clients. We do 300 shows a month, and we have about 60 people on the team. And it's just going gangbusters.
So
we're very
DM,
happy.
So DM, tell me, congratulations. Tell us, DM, what you offer at the Legal Podcast Network.
What we are doing and where I really feel like I want to help attorneys is very simply restoring authority. Like I have lived the commoditization of the legal industry for 20 years. And I've seen where when I was a kid, we watched shows and we talked about growing up to be a doctor and a lawyer. 80-something% of kids now want to be influencers and don't even have the thought of being a lawyer in their mind at all. The cachet of the industry is gone. The respect for the industry is gone. And because it's commoditized, and I always tell people, if everything is equal in your mind, the only difference is cost.
Right.
And that's what's happened to the legal industry. So what we're trying to do is we're using what I call authority podcasts. So these aren't like what you and I are doing, filling out conversations. These are structured conversations where our client, let's say we'll just use a family attorney. We go to a family attorney, let's say they're in Charleston, South Carolina. And if I have a client in this space right now, please know I'm not directly talking about you. I'm just making this up if you happen to listen to this. So let's say I have a family attorney, Charleston, South Carolina, and they come to us and say, hey, I like what you're doing. Can I be a part of it? So what we do is when we onboard them, we find out what is their client profile. So it's not just I do divorces. Are you doing simple? Are you doing complex? Are you doing high asset? Are you doing custody ugly? Like what is the person that, or the archetype that if your whole caseload was just that person, you would just be happy or super profitable and happy?
Right.
Like what is that? And so then we drill down on that. So let's say Charleston, they say high net worth individuals with legacy money, right? So then we start doing things like, what happens to your money when it's inherited and in a trust? I'm assuming that Charleston, South Carolina has some old money in it, right? So I'm just kind of making an assumption. Right. So then we build the content and the podcast sessions around these very structured QA sessions that match who their client is, matches their jurisdictional profile, and then matches their personality profile, or what we call the brand profile. Mm-hmm. So we build this show, and essentially, I just tell people, I'm trying to take what happens from behind your desk and put it on the internet. Because almost every attorney will tell you, if I could just get them across the desk for me, then I would close 80%,
yeah.
Right?
Right.
So then they're sitting, and they're like, sitting behind a desk, and 80-something% of people now make a decision based solely off the internet of whether or not they're going to work with an attorney.
Right. That's right.
So if you're just sitting back hoping they come sit in your office and you want to win business, you're going to be hurting for sure. But if you find a way to recreate the same atmosphere where you're assuaging fears, providing clarity, putting them in a position where they feel like, okay, where do I go from here? Now I've differentiated myself, and it's not, well, what's your rate? It's, I've watched a few of your podcasts. It really spoke to me because I'm going through the exact same situation. How do I work with you? And that's exactly what's happening with our clients.
Really?
Like I just came up like, oh yeah, I have testimony after testimony after testimony. They're like, yeah, clients come in, they fit what I want. I mean, I'm not saying every client every day, like they're just, lined up out the door, but my clients consistently are saying, we are cultivating the exact kind of clients. They convert higher. They don't talk about price because they're buying me based on my knowledge and skill set, not based on my rate.
So what is it about your work that's like kind of like getting clients, your podcast hosts out there, your episodes out there? What is it about the Legal Podcast Network?
Well, because we're using a podcast as just a source code for the whole ecosystem that we build around it.
Oh, I see.
So I have content writers like I have one young lady, a second generation copywriter who graduated with master's or whatever with her English. Another lady who I've worked with for about 7 years who has done content plans for 10 years with attorneys. Right. And so they draw up the questions and the content. We have a host, and all of our hosts are professional. Like our main host now, he also works on CNN. And does like correspondence for CNN and I think the Golf Channel as well.
Oh, so wait, you have the host?
Yes.
Okay.
So we provide the host. The attorney is the actual guest of their podcast.
Okay. All right.
Well, about 75%, because we also do where the attorney asks questions and like we do what we call guardrails with collaborative opportunities. So we're like, this is the way we know works. If you want to do it a different way, we will enable and help you and understand but if you don't know what you're doing and you just want to trust us, this is how we do it. So we provide the host, we give them the questions ahead of time. We sit down, we do about a 20-minute podcast. We ask them about 7 to 10 questions that are on the same vein. So today we're going to talk about what happens to the boat. Or what happens to a second home in a divorce in the state of Oklahoma or whatever.
Okay.
So we structure the content. It's planned, structured content that will scale in regular SEO, more importantly in LLMs, because guess what? They're query based. So we're building their whole content infrastructure off of the way that content is built on the internet now. Then we take one session, 30 minutes, gets you about a 17 to 21 minute podcast. We then create 30 pieces of content.
Wow.
10 shorts and reels, 10 audiograms, and 10 static posts. We then take those 30 pieces of content and we distribute them on up to 10 social media outlets for them. So it's either one post a day if they do one show a month, 2 posts a day if they do 2 shows a month, and 3 posts a day if they do 4 shows a month.
Wow.
So we're doing 30, 60, or 90 posts for 300, 600, or 900 posts for all of our clients.
How many people do you have doing that? Or is it all automatic on on one of those?
No, I
systems?
think I have 2 people full time that just post.
Wow.
One that just posts website content because we also take the podcast and we roll it into either blog content or into FAQ content.
Right.
So now we're creating with 30 minutes. We're doing 30 days of content. We're doing a podcast. We're distributing that on 25 outlets. Then we're taking, that content and we're distributing that on 10 outlets. Then we're creating website content and putting it, and we'll actually place it on their website if they don't have a webmaster to do it for them. And then, so that was our 2.0 version. And then next week, I'm launching what we're calling LPN Eco for the ecosystem. We're launching 2 television streaming channels like Netflix. One's called LPN Life, and it's for lawyers. And it's because I also have about 20 shows from people who serve lawyers, everywhere from fashion for women lawyers and how to dress in the courtroom to, finances for your law firm, for your small firm. So we kind of have 2 sets of content. Who
are your hosts for those?
My same hosts. And then the people that are on the shows are people that that's what they do. They're legal adjacent companies. So those legal adjacent companies come to us. We inserted them into our ecosystem where what we were using to cultivate clients. We start seeing all of those people. And then I'm going, well, wait a minute. If I built an ecosystem, then I could insert people into it. Why don't I build this ecosystem for all these lawyers so that as I insert people into it, it benefits, which is what we've been doing.
Wow.
So we're launching the 2 channels, the one called Life And then the other one is LPN Answers. That one is from the attorneys to the public. Mm-hmm. And it's basically the podcast where you can go and just put, I'm in the state of Texas. I'm going through a divorce. It'll show you all the podcasts and the attorneys who they're from in the state of Texas. Then you can watch some episodes of, this attorney in Texas that's talking about certain subjects in divorce or criminal or whatever it is. And then we're also launching we're in beta now. We're going to start with 10 people. It's essentially like a podcast matching service, but it's white glove. So essentially I'm going to have somebody full-time that'll take clients, take shows, match them up and say, okay, here's 3 shows that are interested in you that you fit, or here's 3 guests because you have a show. You said you wanted a guest that does this. Here's the 3 guests that you can pick from. Wow. So we're like creating that ecosystem. And so then behind that, we're kind of tacking on, because I have in my ecosystem some real estate, some medical people that just go, I love what you're doing. I know it won't help me in the ecosystem, but if I could just pay you and spend 30 minutes to get all my marketing done for the month, and it's me, and it's custom, and it's, you're doing the keywords and the back end and the blah, blah, blah. Right. So we're launching the Authority and the Expert podcast networks. Authority is more national, international, consultants, SaaS, things like that, and then coaches, and then Expert is more locally focused. I'm the local real estate expert. I'm the local mortgage expert, that sort of thing.
Wow. So, you're like a little busy. You're doing some stuff here. That's amazing. Wow. Congratulations. So what do you love so much about all of it?
There's 2 things I love, and this is, I hope if you haven't listened to my other podcasts, you're going to think, oh, this guy, he can't really feel this way. But honestly, 2 things. When I watch testimonials from my clients and they say, I love how easy it is. I love the people. You can tell they're passionate and they're great, because now I'm proud of my team. Yep. So I'm proud of my processes. I'm proud of my team. And then when especially they say, oh, yeah, I get clients from it. Yeah, definitely. People tell me all the time they've been watching my podcast and they want to work with me. So that's the first thing. The other thing is when my team, so I have 60 people in 12 countries. I just had a young man. He's like a junior sales guy. And he emailed me, or he IM'd me yesterday. I gave him a little bit of a raise. He's the top of his class. So I kind of bumped up his hourly and said, hey, man, proud of you. You're doing a great job. Nice. And he said, hey, I didn't tell you this, but when you hired me, I was homeless.
Wow.
And I was borrowing, going to places to work until I got my first paycheck. And he said, now I take care of my grandma because my grandma has no income.
Wow.
And I'm no longer homeless because of this. I sat at my desk and cried for 5 minutes. This just happened yesterday.
Yeah. Wow.
So those 2 things are what I love about this.
Yeah.
Clients who see success and teammates who see success.
Yeah. Wow. So much that you're doing. That's crazy in terms of so you've probably learned a lot too about the law along the way, right? Hearing these podcasts and,
Well, I don't, honestly, I know enough about, I've been selling attorneys since 2003, 2004. Yeah. I've worked with attorneys for 22 years. For the most part, I can when I sell, I'll be like, all right, so you're in this market, so you make about this, and you have about how many, so you're doing about this much per year. And it's I can explain their whole business model to them. And they're just like, well, how do you know all that? I've had people accuse me of cyber stalking them. And I'm like, no, you told me what your rates are. And, I can extrapolate. Right. But yeah, I feel like I know a pretty decent amount about law, but honestly, I can't sit around and watch 300 hours a month of legal podcasting. I always tell people, listen, these podcasts are not for mass consumption.
Right.
They're for specific people at a specific time in their life, in a specific place in the country, with a specific need. And that's what this podcast is about. Most people think about podcasting as, how can I reach the masses? But a smart business person says, how can I reach my very particular customer? Right. Because now I can do it at scale. Because over the desk is not at scale, but podcasting is at scale.
Right. So, wow. So many questions, but so you have every different type. Do you focus on one? It's all different types of law. And are your podcasts virtual, or do you have a studio? Is it all virtual?
Everything's virtual. It's all virtual. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're hoping to do everything virtual, and then you cut up
Correct.
clips, and like what social media platforms are you posting to? All of them?
There's 10 of them. Yeah.
Okay.
All of them. So, I mean, here's why I tell people I am outlet agnostic.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, you might be like, well, 30% of my audience is on, or my audience is on Facebook because 30% of the people fit my client profile. Okay, that's great, right? But here's the thing. If the next outlet is only 10 and you ignore it, and the next outlet is only 10% and you ignore it, and the next outlet is 10% and you skip 10 outlets, you're literally stepping away from 80 to 90% of your potential market by not being, because I use this concept, and I'm not going to say I made it up. I'm just going to say I feel like I'm the only one that talks about it this much, and I call it digital languages.
Yeah.
And it's very simply this. We all have preferred digital spaces that we live that have sets of rules, that have sets of, and so we speak that language. I like to use this illustration. If I am let's say you have a friend and you're like, text your friend, you're like, hey man, we're going to, meet up this weekend. You want to hang out? And nothing, right? And we've all probably had something like this. And 2-3 days in a row, nothing. And then you like bump them on Facebook and they're like instantly right back to you. And you're like, man, I just text you for 3 days. Oh yeah, sorry, I've just been busy. But you instantly in Facebook because that's where they live.
Right.
And so in order to reach people that aren't on LinkedIn, guess what? You have to not just do LinkedIn.
Right.
And so that's why I like to do anything and everything I can. The only thing I won't do for them is OnlyFans.
Yeah. That's why not? No.
I mean,
so
a revenue split, we could talk, but no, I'm kidding.
So what's the idea for your client? Like, are they getting? So you put the content out, and are they getting messages to their inbox? Is that sort of thing? Like, are they getting clients, and is it just to give them exposure? Like,
it's putting them in a position of what I call authoritative positioning.
Yeah.
So when you are marketing from your client to you, by the time they come to you, they respect you, they're willing to pay you, they convert easier. When you market from you to your client, it is a sales thing, and they feel like you're trying to get them.
Right.
And so we're using podcasting at the center of an authoritative positioning piece that says, okay, they're going to search a certain question. Maybe they catch your podcast. Maybe in their social media feed, the algorithm bumps it into there because, that's the beautiful thing about the algorithm anymore. It's not just who you know and who they share it to. If you have the content that's clear, if I am, looking at divorce and I click on another guy's divorce video, then guess what's going to start showing up in my feed?
Right. Totally. I get it.
So we're using the query-based system that the algorithms have right now to the advantage of our clients because, why not? It's not about building big numbers on your page. It's about getting in front of big numbers and converting them and seeing success. And I think, I've been playing LinkedIn for a year, and it's been fun. I think I grew from about 1,500 to about 6,000.
Okay.
And, not huge. I mean, I put my LinkedIn stuff up. I might get 6, 8, 10, maybe 20, 30 likes and shares and nothing huge. I'm not like, wow, that's Mr. LinkedIn right there. I closed over 50 clients out of LinkedIn this year.
Wow.
Through the relationships I built. Not me personally, but through relationships, through people. On January 1st by 10 a.m., I had 3 inbox messages on LinkedIn. Hey, I love what you're doing. I'm an attorney in this. If you've got a spot, I'd love to work with you.
Wow. If you're looking to grow on LinkedIn, I know even more. I can talk to you about it after. I know somebody who could help out too. But
to me, like, what is growth? Like, I could have bigger numbers, and I've been.
No, but that's incredible. You don't need to grow even more. I mean, if you're already getting
exactly
in your inbox, like that's all it matters. That's what matters to you.
Exactly.
What mistakes do you see with podcasters, or lawyers coming in trying to be a podcast host? Like, do you see any mistakes with them and like how they market themselves?
Yeah, I'd say the number one mistake is being a lawyer while they're on camera.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is, so let's pretend I'm my host from my company. So, Mr. Attorney, so if I get a divorce in the Atlanta area, is that something that's going to take, like, I've heard people, it takes like 5 years. How long does something like that typically take? Well, statute number 4.783, thus for, herefore, thereto, and again, upon the thing. And you're like, who are you talking to right now, my
Right.
friend?
Right.
And so that's probably the number one mistake. The number two mistake is they don't understand the concept of compound trust.
Mm.
This isn't put an ad in the newspaper, get 2 calls tomorrow. This isn't spend 10 grand on PPC and hope. This is a cumulative effect where over time you become people's attorney that you'll never meet until they hand you a check.
Mm.
And I know that because I've been doing social media for almost 15 years now. And I literally had a guy I told here on the island, the guy that I buy my meat from, his name's Francisco.
Nice.
And the name of his little shop is Country Meats. And I brought my smoker over from Texas. So this last weekend, I made 4 racks of ribs and 2 chickens. And I went over to him and I was buying my ribs and chicken. And he said something about like, oh, I'm expanding the grocery part and I'm doing this and I was doing that. And I was like, yeah, I do some podcasting. I said, I do a lot about like business and things like that. You might like it. And he goes, oh, I listen to all your podcasts.
Wow.
You're like my business coach. I don't understand half of what you say, but I like it.
That's awesome.
And I was like, what? And that's what people don't understand about podcasting is you think about all the people that are influencing your life through media right now.
Right.
Why is it impossible that you would not be one of those people? If I could have a local lawyer in my pocket for my very specific needs, I'm going to keep him or her in my pocket.
Right.
And that's all we're trying to do is we're trying to get people to take these attorneys and mentally, emotionally take ownership of those attorneys as that's my attorney. Like that's my show or that's my sports team. So that when it's time to play the game, that's right where they go. Wow. So it's not about exposure as much as it is about creating a new, what I kind of think of as a modern business relationship, which is I'm speaking into a camera on an island to a guy who's speaking into a camera somewhere on Eastern Standard Time. And for years to come, people will spend an hour and sit and listen to what we're talking about because they hope it helps them. It entertains them a little bit. They want to, whatever the reason is. So that's what podcasting does is it compounds trust and opportunities over time and creates pseudo relationships that will benefit you greatly if you're willing to put yourself out there.
Wow. That's I love it. I mean, I love podcasting, obviously.
I don't got to sell you on podcasting, do I?
Do you guys do any branding for your clients, or is the branding like some sort of like something else that they get and they give it to you and they you kind of
what we do it? Yeah, so what we do is like typically like they'll have their website with their logos and things and we'll just match branding and then like for the show itself we'll usually, based off of after onboarding, based off their client, their case, their jurisdiction, we'll say, here's 5 show names that we recommend based off of what you shared earlier. Mm-hmm. Which one of these do you think would work for you? And sometimes we'll say, I like that one. Can we change this? Oh, yeah, sure. Because what I found is if I give you a clear path, even if you don't like the path I give you, you'll still move.
Right.
But if I say to you, hey, just go wherever you want, everyone's going to go, well, maybe. And then they just freeze up. So we try to give like 3 to 5, openings or 3 to 5 options and then say, we're not saying this is your only options, but we're saying these are the options that we feel like are best for you based on our research data, study, and expertise.
Okay. So DM, tell us about turnkey podcasting for lawyers. That's like something that your website emphasizes. If people aren't familiar with podcast production, like what does that include, like start to finish?
How much time you got? Our 4-month agreement has a 303 step process.
303 steps, huh?
Yes. Not on the contract, but so there's 303 steps from the time they sign the contract till 4 months later when we've done our first round of shows.
It's Crazy.
So, and that's if they do a once a month. If they do it twice a month, that doubles. If they do it 4 times a month, that quadruples.
If you want to
And
name all
so
303, I'm just going to have another shot here if you don't mind. No, I'm just
there
kidding.
we go. There we go. Well, I'd have to pull it up. I'll be honest with you.
You'd have to what?
I'd have to pull up the process. I definitely don't have it in my head.
Oh, no. I understand.
Yeah.
So just
So generally they come on. Like I said, we do the onboarding. We also do what's called a tech check, where we make some equipment recommendations. And then we're looking like kind of a vendor that's like our preferred vendor. That's I'm not saying we might not eventually bring this in-house, but basically to help with setup of studios. Because what we're seeing is our clients join and then they just sit at their desk, bad lighting, green folders in the background, halfway decent $200-300 microphone, regular webcam. They sit there, they talk, and they're fine. They're fine with it. I'm fine with it. We call that the behind the desk approach. We're emulating as if they're sitting across the desk from you, right? But then what happens is they get some clients about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months into it, just variable based on the market, blah, blah, blah. They pop off a couple clients. All of a sudden they're like, hey, I was thinking of buying a podcast studio. And like, I've literally had 3 guys ask me if they should buy a podcast studio.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no, you can set up your office. I call it a podfis. I have a podfis.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get that to catch on if it's not out there.
Like it.
A podfis. It's an office that becomes a podcasting studio.
Well, I have a 9x9 podfis in my unfinished basement, but I would like to talk to you briefly after about some upgrades. Okay, go ahead.
So that we go through that. So then what we do is a week before their first shoot, we send them their questions for their sessions. And then we shoot either 1 hour or 2 hours. So either 2 shows or 4 shows. We shoot the shows. We then we send them to editing, edit it out, do the color grading, all the stuff like that. I've got, 9 video and, and some odd, I think I just looked at the team, 3 audio editors and 9 video editors right now on the team. So they edit the video, we do the skins, we make it look real good. I know you know what this is all about because I've looked at your show. So do all that, make it look good, edit, blah, blah, blah. Then we distribute it. When we distribute it, it goes out to 25 different networks. We use Podbean. That's all the audio. Then we do YouTube. We create YouTube channels. Anything they don't have, we create it for them.
Cool. Okay.
They own the intellectual property. So we don't own these shows. We do have permission to use them in the ecosystem in the network, but we don't monetize. Like if YouTube sent me a check, I'd probably send it back because I'd lose money. Because I didn't have to go to all my clients and be like, hey, I made money off your shows, right?
Yeah, wow.
And I don't know if you know much about lawyers, but they don't appreciate when you do something outside of the scope of work that you said you would. At least that's been my impression. So we distribute it to 25 audio and video outlets. Then we take and we break it up, and every day we place on 10 outlets. So, obviously like LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, Twitter X. We don't do it on all of them, but Twitch channel, Pinterest, TikTok, and Google My Business or Google Business Profile. I can't remember which one it is now.
Wow.
So we distribute to all of those every day, 1, 2, 3 times a day, depending on if they have 1 show a month, 2 shows a month, or 4 shows a month.
Right.
We then take the content, we put it on their website. And then we just keep doing that over and over and over, and then it just compounds. And when I say, we put it here, we put it there, we're doing the meta tagging, we're doing, YouTube Studio, we're doing the back end stuff. We're not just like throwing it up there and hoping for the best.
Crazy. That's a lot. You're doing a lot of work for all that. How many shows do you have?
We have right at 200 shows, 300 episodes a month.
That's incredible. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
So tell us about, one last question. Tell us about elevating your clients' voices. How are you helping attorneys elevate their voice? Obviously through a microphone and a podcast, but give us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, so I think the ultimate thing that needs to be answered first is, what is elevation to them? Because there's different types of shows an attorney can do. There's like legacy, hey, I want to get on the stage at the bar association, I want my peers to recognize me sort of shows. And we have a few of those. I'm not against them. So obviously with that, we're taking that approach. We're talking, we're, having good guests, helping them have a show that runs well, that makes them look good, that is out there. Okay. But the majority of our clients are really elevating to them is more of the right cases, right? Because
Right.
you call an attorney, hey, you want more cases? I'm already.
Right.
Hey, you want some more of the right cases? Well, I always got room for that. So that's why I said these podcasts, they're there for a specific person, a specific time, and a specific situation. They're not for mass consumption. I've thought about to all of my podcasting materials, 2 attorneys putting on the CrossFit, not for mass consumption. And this is the illustration I like. And we'll end up with this. And then if I could talk about exclusivity, because I think that's important as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's what I say to people. So let's say you're an attorney and you do a podcast and you're like, well, I don't know what I want it to do. So I'm going to give you 2 choices. Choice number 1, your show is going to get 2 million views on YouTube. Now, what that means is, depending on the demographic of who clicks on it, it could be anywhere from $1,000 to $6,000. Let's just split the difference, $3,500.
Right.
So you're going to get a check for $7,000 from YouTube for this video that popped off. 2 million people. That's nice. Nice passive income.
It is.
But let me ask you a question. Would you rather have that or scenario number 2? Only 50 people watch the video. But of those 50, 10 of them call you and 7 of them hire you.
Wow, that's a big, nice conversion rate.
If someone calls you because I've been watching your podcast and I need your help, what do you think the conversion rate is?
I don't know. I'm not good at math, but I would say it's good.
Yeah. And I'm just using a 60-70% conversion rate, give or take.
Yeah.
But let's split it in half. Let's say 40%. Let's say 30%.
Right, 30
Still,
to 40.
3 signed cases should be worth a heck of a lot more than $7,000 to your law firm.
Yeah. No, that's totally true. So I actually have another question besides the exclusivity, but go ahead and talk about the exclusivity and I'll see if I remember my other question after that.
You want to write it down? You want to? Anyway. If it's there, it's supposed to be there, right? All right. So exclusivity. So this is another thing. To me, if I say to you, I'm going to make you the authority for divorce in Atlanta,
right?
And then I sign you up. I start producing a show, and then you look and you see 8 other Atlanta family attorneys that have shows with me and work with me.
I get it.
Pretty disingenuous.
Sure.
So what we do is we base off jurisdictions, which is typically counties.
Yep.
We pretty much say, this is your jurisdiction. We'll give you the whole jurisdiction. If it's Atlanta, Fulton, DeKalb, blah, 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 the 3, 4, 5 counties, depending on dense population density. So we only have 1 attorney per case type per marketplace. So that way we're not trying to make multiple authorities and competing within our own client base.
Yeah,
why?
Yeah,
I've worked with attorneys 22 years. What's one of the things that's frustrated them more than anything else?
Yeah.
I give all this money to insert legal marketing company here.
Right.
And they told me they're going to do all this for me, and I keep giving them more money, and they're working with 5 of my biggest competitors.
Right. And then SEO too. Isn't there issues with SEO if you're trying to get somebody to be, first on Google and then you have the same competing client in the same area? I mean, that's kind of...
Yeah, and that's the other thing. There's only 1 first place. So if you have 5, in the race, unless they want one of them to win and them to get 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and they're a team, they're not going to be happy that they keep coming in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th when the other person is doing the same. So yeah. So I'm that way. I want to build a relation. And we're very fortunate. Our clients are great. They've stuck with us. Not everyone every time, but enough, over 90% retention that, awesome. I'm very happy with that. So, but I did that on purpose when I started this. I was like, listen, we're going to do exclusivity. And, we've had to continue to ratchet that down and get more precise on exactly what that is. But it's been a great addition. Yeah,
no, that's amazing. So my question was, in terms of the model that you're using, you don't have the lawyer doesn't come on and say, hey, I want to be the host. You have hosts for the lawyer to explain like,
Correct.
what they're doing. It's sort of like they're doing their own, not commercials, but they're doing their own episodes, 30, 40 minutes, what have you. So like, why do you think like that model of podcasting works better where you have a host and you just let them talk? I mean, obviously lawyers, you know, they have a lot to say. They want to talk about their practice. I get it. But tell me like a little bit about that model compared to like the model. Like we have the lawyer come on. You know, we share
Right.
stories and we talk about what they're doing and highlight things. But tell me about your model.
So let me ask you a question right this moment in this show with me and you. Who's the expert and who's the host?
Um, you're the guest.
Yeah, but do you see my point?
What?
Like you brought me on because I have something to say.
Yes, of course.
People
Yes.
are, and I'm not saying they're not here to hear you. They're here to hear you guide me to help them,
Right.
you know? And so you're a host who
Sure.
takes a guest and elevates their message.
Yes.
Is that maybe
That's
that's
it. Yeah, no,
a
that,
softer,
of
more
course.
fair way
Yeah.
to say it?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you have your own podcast where you want to be the expert who people call when they need something, do you want to be the one who's elevating somebody else's message, or do you want to have your message elevated?
Okay. Yeah. No,
That's why we
smart.
do it that way.
That's why you're an entrepreneur, man. That's why you've got it down. I love that. I think that's really good idea. I mean, I like the model. I'm not saying I think it's a good way to go about things. Obviously, you're very successful at it. So
I mean, we've got goals. I always tell people, don't congratulate me till I cross the finish line, but I will take the cup of water and saying, good job, buddy.
good job, buddy. I mean, I don't know though. You're on it. You've done so many things like so far in your lifetime that it seems like who knows? Maybe you'll start the whole platform again for doctors. You know.
Well, I mean, that's where the authority and expert is. What I told my team is we're going to do that. We're going to let it kind of build itself on the side with
Yep.
overflow and then create some small marketing systems. But if all of a sudden we break out and we see medical, we're going to do the medical podcast network.
Yeah, there you go.
If all of a sudden everything's revolving around real estate and mortgage and everything about buying houses because the housing market gets hot again and we see it for a 10-year run, now we have the real estate podcast network.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just basically creating sandboxes for client bases to play in that we can help whoever you are, but whatever seems to kind of take on its own, instead of like making it a runaway train, we just then hop on that train and build a system with that.
So why do you think lawyers are coming to you? Like, do you think it's because like they get their content that way? It's like an easy way to go on for 30, 40 minutes and then get all this content posted and you're managing the social media. What do you think like the big draw to the legal podcast?
I think the big draw is two things. One is the professionalism. We hear that a lot from our clients.
Right.
You know, my executive producer, she produced Michael Cohen's podcast. She produced a podcast for Stephen King. She worked for iHeartMedia, Spotify, won a bunch of awards. So like, you know, like I said, one of my hosts, he's Mike Leon. He's on CNN regularly, and now it's anchor of the Legal Podcast Network, and we're sharing that just like last week because
awesome.
that's his official title on CNN.
Wow.
So
cool.
yeah, so it's like so they come and they're like, man, I couldn't work with these people if I wanted to. Yet here's this company, they cost effective, they take 30 minutes, they make a month out of it. Like I'm trying to make it to where people walk away from what we're doing and they're like, this is probably the stupidest mistake I ever made in my life, but I'm not going to do it. You know what I mean? Like I want them to like, if they don't come on board, I want them to like in their mind say, I don't know what's wrong with me. And maybe that's the wrong way to kind of phrase it. I want to make it easy. I want to make it simple. I live by the mantra, better, faster, less friction. I don't even have to say it with my team now. I just go like this. Hey guys, what do we say? And I go like this. They go better, faster, less friction, because they know that's what we seek constantly. We want to be better at what we do. We want to be, we want our clients to have a better experience. Everything is got to be better. And when does better end? It doesn't.
Yeah.
Better keeps going.
It just keeps going. No, I love it. I love it, man. Like you've got a great model going, and congrats to all your success. Do you have anything else to say about the legal podcast? I mean, I'm sure you could go like all night, but do you have anything?
Here's what
that you'd like to.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say. I hear this often from people from attorneys. I've heard this all throughout my career. You marketers, you're nothing but a bunch of thieves. You lie to us. We give you $15,000. Not me because I did it, but like in conversations. I've heard this countless times.
Yeah.
You know, and here's the way that I explain. I'm like, listen, me and my brother got divorced about 2 years apart. He got divorced first. Mm-hmm. Now, at that time, we made about the same amount of money. He went and got like a $25,000, $30,000 lawyer. By the time the divorce was done, he was sleeping on my uncle's couch. He was living paycheck to paycheck, making well into six figures.
Wow.
2 years later, I went through a divorce. You know what I didn't say? All lawyers are crooks. Look what they did to my brother. I just didn't hire that lawyer.
Right.
And so just like every industry has bad actors, every industry also have people that love what they do, love serving people, and want to help them. And listen, I'm not going to proclaim I'm that person, but I would hope that some people would consider me to be that.
Yeah, that's true. You have a lot of life experience too, so I would definitely say that's true. That's a good point.
So yeah, I mean, so at the end of the day, we're here. We can help you. Or you could just come in, see what we're doing, and rip it off. If you got time, listen, I got 60 people. I haven't figured amount of time that goes into each individual episode. But like I said, over a 4-month period is 303 steps for 4 episodes being put out.
Yeah. Wow. DM, thanks for being with us, man. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I've enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah, the Legal Podcast Network. Stay right there, sir. And everybody else, thank you for tuning in. Wherever you are in the world today, enjoy yourselves. Cheers.